boy, just when you think things are going to maybe cool down, boom, that's exactly when everything starts to spiral out of control. A lot of things happened yesterday, so let me break it down for you. The DHS director, Christopher Krebs, went on the record to say that there was no evidence of election fraud, something we all know, but it's great when finally someone inside the administration speaks out and lets Americans know the truth. Now, that truth did not sit well with Donald Trump, who went on to fire Mr. Krebs over Twitter. Just like that, 2 tweets, poof, he's gone. Literally for doing his job. Now, of course, this is shocking, but not surprising. We're going to expect to see a lot of this from Trump in the upcoming months before he's booted out of the White House. But I do think the president shouldn't have that much power, where if he doesn't agree with someone, he's able to fire them. I think that is a bit tyrannical, don't you think? Firing one of the heads of the Department of Homeland Security for stating the truth about our American elections. And speaking of truth, out of the woodworks comes a forgotten favorite, the one and only Sarah Palin, appearing on Sean Hannity to attack President Barack Obama for being a man who quote-unquote stands against the truth. Take a listen to this.
That he is a purveyor of untruths. Our country has to love truth. We have to be seekers of truth. We have to be willing to follow truth. And there are so many untruths that Barack Obama is leading people towards still. For instance, a truth is that only law and order will usher in peace and prosperity. The sanctity of life, that is a truth, is that we should protect life. The Democrats' platform is the antithesis of that, the provisions about it's okay to kill a baby in the womb. There are so many things that Barack Obama stands for still, and he just doesn't get it, that the solution to our problems in this country, it all comes down to simply loving truth. He does not represent nor love truth.
I'm sorry, Sarah, are you talking about President Trump? The man who's spoken over 20,000 lies? The guy who lied to every single American about just how deadly the coronavirus was and let it ravage across the country, amounting to a death toll of almost 250,000 people and rising. But I'm going to stop myself before I get too angry here, because Trump's rhetoric is one of the biggest spreaders of coronavirus. In fact, it led to the Million MAGA March, where we had thousands of Trump supporters marching through Washington, D.C., protesting the election for no reason other than they don't have jobs, and they're looking for violence, chaos, and one final chance to show their former President Trump just how much they love him by gathering in big crowds without wearing masks or social distancing. And it's just sad because they still haven't realized that Donald Trump does not care at all about them. Now, my thoughts are in complete opposition to what Laura Ingraham had to say about the march.
But after this weekend, we can modify it this way. If a Trump march draws tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of peaceful, patriotic people to Washington, and no one's around to report it, did it really occur? Now, it's a fair guess that most in that gigantic crowd are convinced that Trump won the election. And it's likewise reasonable for them to conclude that they don't have much trust in the U.S. media.
Okay, Laura, first of all, these are not patriotic Americans. These are people who are trying to destroy democracy before our very eyes. And no, they shouldn't have a lack of confidence in the integrity of the elections, considering there's still no evidence of election fraud, as I say over and over again in my videos. And not only am I saying it, the courts are now saying it too, as Trump and Giuliani are losing legal battle after legal battle after legal battle. So yes, I'm gonna double down on what Hillary Clinton said. These people are deplorable, should be ignored, and the American government should not carry out these traitorous, anti-democracy spewing and violent citizens, I guess you could call them. Now, of course, we know that a lack of evidence will not stop a Republican from trying to prove a theory on national television. So again, we have Kayleigh McEnany on Fox News doing what she does best, lying.
Was a pattern and practice of harassment against poll watchers. Of course, you're legally obligated to send a Republican poll challenger to observe the vote. And what I read was entirely disturbing. And then finally, another instance of racial slurs used against an individual. He was a man of Chinese descent, and he was literally told, "Why are you here? "You're not American." When he said, "I am American," he proceeded to endure 5 minutes of racial and ethnic slurs.
No, Kayleigh, you have it wrong. It was in fact the Trump quote-unquote poll watchers who were harassing poll workers. They're literally carrying AK-47s, pressing their face against the window, trying to ram their way through, not wearing masks, and chanting obscenities like "stop the steal," "stop the count," and then of course, when Trump's lead started to slip, yelling "count every vote." And by the way, since when was Kayleigh McEnany so worried about racial attacks when that is all her boss Donald Trump does? I mean, you bring up a man of Chinese descent being racially profiled by one of the poll workers? What about the 100 times where Trump referred to coronavirus as the Chinese virus and the Kung flu, creating such a vicious divide between America and China, all to take away from the cold hard fact that coronavirus in America is not China's fault. The continued rise of cases and deaths are Trump and his administration's fault. But Trump never takes responsibility. In fact, all he knows how to do is rile up his base and continue to assault our democracy. And with a final gut punch to Donald Trump last night, there was a brief moment where Michigan refused to certify the election results. And Trump was quick to brag about that, with multiple tweets, only to realize that 30 minutes later, Michigan reversed that decision and in fact finalized their certification, declaring Joe Biden the winner of Michigan. Not that it matters because he already won the presidency, but it just feels great to stick it to Trump one more time. Guys, it's midweek and I can only imagine that tensions are going to be heating up and escalating, and Republicans are going to have to make some big decisions here as to whether or not they continue to defend these baseless claims from our lame duck president. And you know I'm covering it all, so make sure you subscribe for daily videos and I will continue to uncover the truth.